All right, guys, so we are right at 8 o'clock, and out of respect for everyone's time, I'm going to get this party started. Before I introduce Kevin Jensen, who has been an amazing mentor in my business, and I know you guys are going to get so much out of this call, there's just a couple things that I want to go over. So if you saw in the team page, I announced that the Summit waiting list, if you're on there, be looking at your emails this week because they're going to be letting lots and lots of people off the list this week. Check your junk folders. You don't want to miss that. I think you have 196 hours to claim that ticket. And wherever you, whenever you got on the waiting list, wherever your price range was, they will honor that. So if it was like at the beginning, it was still $150, you will get that $150 price. Be patient because they're going to be slowly letting people off. So if you see 5 of your friends get off the list, don't get discouraged that you're not going to get off. I had a conversation with Michael Neiman at NLC, and he said they're working really hard to get everyone off. Our network has grown a huge amount in the last few months. So to say everyone's going to get off, please don't hold me to that because I just don't know. Second thing is download the Summit app. That way you can see kind of what's just going on and start planning your trip. If you, everyone on this call, mostly I see a couple people from just in the North Bay page that are on, but if you are in Diesel Nation downline, make sure that you're locking in Success Club in June or July so that you can qualify for the luncheon at Margaritaville. It's going to be a really good time. Last year it was at BB King's and we had a great time. It was one of my favorite parts of Summit just because it was the only time that we all got together and had that one-on-one interaction with, for me, Mindy, but Becky and Christina and other coaches within Diesel Nation. And then Super Saturday this weekend. So if you're not in Sonoma County and you're in a different area, make sure you're reaching out if you need help locating one. These events will change your business, guys, and they are really the bread and butter when you're really focused on growing your business or just really want to see what else is out there. These are a great way to build relationships and hear from those of us around there. A couple things. So if you didn't listen to Diesel Nation call tonight, please listen to the playback. Really amazing information from Shay Sanford. If you don't follow her, she is the Shakeology guru, but tonight she didn't talk about Shakeology. She talked about branding and building relationships and really connecting with lots of people. And one of the biggest takeaways were if you're struggling in your business or you're constantly building rank and then dropping and you just don't know how to fix that, she said, find more people. So focus on the relationships and find more people. We have Leslie Wood, who is 1-star qualifying right now, and Heather Toby, who is halfway through her 2-star qualification. So really exciting stuff on Team Fierce. Be watching your news feeds because we have more rank advancements coming. And Amber, who is so close to Diamond, she's a half an emerald away. So she's working really hard to lock that in before Thursday. So I'm just really proud of you guys. I appreciate your commitment for getting on this call tonight. And I'm going to stop talking, but before I do, I'm going to introduce you to Kevin Jensen. He is here in Sonoma County, and I met him through Super Saturday. I had no idea who he was the first time that I met him, but he was just this really positive person who kept offering encouraging words, and he got up and spoke to us, and he really kind of just blew my mind, talking about how we just invite people and you talk about positioning your challenge packs and the kickstart, because that was pretty new. And we've been able to get to know each other a little bit better. His wife, Milan, was the first coach in the network. So if you think about how far Beachbody's come and to know that his wife was the very first one, and he actually worked Carl at corporate for 2 years, like, we're in for a special treat because he's been there. He knows them directly. He's just a people person that really focuses on empowering other people. He's had a lot of success in this business. Just to name a little bit, he's been in network marketing for 30 plus years. And he's been in international training. mentors people and consultant to distributors in 28 countries. So he knows his stuff, guys. And I invited him on the call tonight to just share with us the importance of leadership, one. And as we talk a lot about it, leadership starts with ourselves, right? If we aren't leading ourselves, we can't lead others. But two, the importance of the leadership ladder. I know it can be really confusing because if you've been in the business for a little while, now all of a sudden you feel like Beachbody's introducing this new way that we're recognizing people, but it doesn't need to be that complex. The same thing with Elite. If you kind of just simplify things and talk to people in a way that they are going to understand, we'll see bigger results. So again, I'm going to stop talking, and Kevin, you can take it away.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Guys, it's good to be a part of your group tonight. Thank you so much for allowing a stranger to sneak in and hang out with you for a little bit of time. As Melissa said, we met at a Super Saturday a couple years ago, and if it wasn't for Beachbody, we probably never would have met. And one of the greatest things about Beachbody are the lives that it brings into our life, right? The lifelong friends. One of the things that I tell a lot of the oldie goldie coaches, meaning the ones that have been around forever, if I didn't make a penny in this business, I'd feel richly rewarded because I've had a chance to meet the Tracy Morrows and the Robert Hudgens and the Pete Peñas and the guys who were a part of this program when we first started, and now it expands to your Diesel Nation team and Melanie Mitro and all those folks who just got crazy stuff going on. It's really cool to see and experience that. And if I could borrow a phrase from, I don't know who it was that first said it, but we've come a long ways, baby. When this program first started, it was interesting, but a little bit more back history just to kind of position some of, I guess, the expertise that I might have in some of these areas I want to talk about tonight. As Melissa mentioned, in fact, I was thinking about it earlier. This month, the month of March, in 1983, I attended my first meeting ever. I was invited. Sounds like a familiar word. I was invited by a friend to participate in an event on a Saturday. I had no idea what I was getting involved in. I come from a family. My father spent 7 years in the Navy. My mom and dad are both amateur rodeo cowboys. So I lived in an environment where I was to speak only when spoken to, and I was never to show emotion. And I walked into this event. It was at a high school auditorium, 3,000 plus seats in this high school auditorium. And there were 3,000 adults going absolutely crazy. They were jumping up and down on their chairs. They were spelling diamond. They were doing this. They're doing that. They had their little team chants and all this stuff going on. And I just kind of cowered down in my seat and thought, why are these people acting so immature? At the time, that was the only word I could think of. Today, I understand that had nothing to do with immaturity. It had everything to do with excitement and energy and belief and hope and possibility. But back then, I didn't understand all of that. I was, it was kind of a conservative guy. The individual who invited me to that event said, I sense you're not having much fun. And I said, I'm embarrassed for these people. He said, well, do me a favor. If you don't mind, just hang around during the break. And after the break is over, if you want to leave, here's the keys to the car. We'll catch a ride from one of our friends. So I honored her request. I looked for the largest group where I could be on the outside listening in, and I heard the story, right? I heard the story that changed everything for me about this idea of owning our own business, being our own boss, designing our own future. And it was one of those rags to riches story where the family was almost ready to lose their house. They were taking money out of the education fund that they've been saving for years and years for their boys to be able to keep their home. And a neighbor knocked on their door and said, hey, I don't know if you're at all interested. We have a little business that we run out of our home. We earn enough money to make our mortgage payment. Would you like to know more? And that husband and wife team said yes. And fast forward 5 years, they were making $250,000 a year. Now in 1983, $250,000 was like a half to $600,000 is today. So it that changed everything for me. I went back into the room. I sat down on the edge of my seat. I didn't get as animated as everybody else did, but I listened to every one of those speakers talk about how their life had changed because they embraced the invitation to take charge of their life. And I thought, oh my gosh, there is another way. I'm not a person who doesn't believe in education, because I do, but I wasn't enjoying my college experience. I was doing it because it was the way I was supposed to go, right? I was supposed to go get an education, get a job, White House with a picket fence, the whole American dream. And it wasn't sitting well with me. And then all of a sudden, a couple of people told me that I didn't have to do it that way if I didn't want to. So I took them up on the offer. And within a couple of weeks, a little divine intervention, I believe, within a couple of weeks, I actually got a job offer from a network marketing company. I spent 13 years with that company, learned a lot about the nutritional side of the business. And then I got a phone call from someone who told me that there were people out there who would be willing to pay me more money than I ever thought I was worth getting paid because of the expertise I had developed over those 13 years. So I left that company and I went to work for an international company. That's where I ended up traveling and teaching and mentoring and consulting in 28 different countries, I think 18 different languages. And what I really loved about that was it didn't matter what language was spoken. It didn't matter if it was an industrialized country or a developing nations country. It didn't matter what the culture was or what the economic situation was in any of those countries. The opportunity was the same for all of them. I remember meeting a gentleman who lived in Nigeria, and he had a dream of getting out of the poverty, making it big in Italy. So he and 3 of his friends set out on a course to get up to the coast, to catch a boat to go across the city and eventually get into Italy. But along the way, they were involved in a serious head-on collision. It killed his 3 friends. He was the only one that lived. The only way they got him out of the car was to amputate his leg. And he went back to Nigeria now without one of his limbs, and he got a job washing cars, leaning on a crutch. And a gentleman walked up to him and said, when you wash my car, I want you to use this product. It was a product from a network marketing company. The kid said, what makes it so special? And he says, this is how I pay for my family's lifestyle. And the guy started asking him, and he discovered this concept of peer-to-peer marketing, fell in love with it. And in a matter of a couple of years, he rose to the top of that company. The first trip he ever won was a trip to Madagascar. And he got up in front of the group of us that were there. He said, this is the first time I was ever on an airplane. It's the first time I ever slept in a bed. It's the first time I ever had room service. It's the first time I've ever showered in warm water. He just listed all the firsts that happened in his life because of embracing the idea of being his own boss. And I could tell you all night long, story after story after story around the world of these kinds of situations. Or the veterinarian who lives not far from us, Melissa, over in Vacaville. Probably my favorite story of all is a veterinarian who made the decision when she started to have kids to be a stay-at-home mom, and as soon as she left her job, that cut their income by 40%. And they were so tight on money that one day her little boy went outside, got him all dressed for church. He went outside, skinned up his knee, tore a hole in his best pair of clothes, and she got mad at him, and she had to iron a patch on these jeans, and he sat in church the whole day with both of his hands over his knee trying to cover up his patch because his siblings had told him that everybody was going to laugh at him because he had patches on his knees. And here's this sweet mother with tears streaming down her face, said, because of my little business, I am now able to buy my kids ice creams when they celebrate their homeschool studies, that she homeschooled her kids. And if my 4-year-old goes outside and falls down and tears a hole in his jeans, I don't have to get mad. I can use it as a teaching moment. And she was making $700 or $800 a month, but it changed everything for her. That's the possibilities that exist in this business. And we've got them in the Beachbody world all over the place, right? Melissa just put tires on her car. There's one reason she was able to put those tires on her car, because she has Beachbody income. But I just wanted to share with you that over the course of the 32 years that I've been involved in this profession, I have never met a single individual who has told me that if they put forth the energy and effort that they were coached to put forth, and if they did what they were taught to do, never has this profession not returned a reward greater than the effort they put into it. Never. Never in Japan, never in Africa, never in the Philippines, never in shucks. So many, Finland, I can't name all the places that I've been and met people who just get up and talk about how the opportunity to be their own boss has changed their life. And then if you were to take those businesses and you were to dissect them, you would discover that those businesses and the success of those businesses were based on the very same principles that we are taught in our Beachbody environment. We call them vital behaviors, but it's the same key activity. Number one, we need to be talking to people. We need to be finding people. We need to be engaging people. We need to be inviting people. We need to be following up with people. We need to be engaged in that practice 80% of our time. And they prove the product works. Now, other companies will say be a product of the product. They use different phraseology, but it's the same principle. And then it doesn't matter what successful company that you talk to, any of their successful distributors, they're going to tell you that you need to grow personally equal to the growth of your business. We call it personal development. But those three key activities are vital to being successful in this business. Melissa mentioned that I was going to spend a little bit of time talking about leadership. The truth is, the best way to develop leaders is to be a leader. And how do you lead? By example. So what should we be spending our time in? We should be spending our time in inviting, being proof the product works, and growing personally. When we do that on a consistent basis, people will follow that behavior. The truest truth about being a leader is just doing what you tell other people to do and being visible about it so that they can see that you're actually doing what you're. That's the truth. That's the simplistic approach to leadership. Now, I'm going to tell you that, as mentioned, I spent the first 2 years of my introduction to Beachbody on the side. In fact, I left one job. 2 weeks later, I got a call. The gentleman that Carl had hired to start the network. And he said to me, hey, we got something really cool going on. I'd love to have you and Milan be a part of it. Come and take a look. And I said, what is it? And he said, well, we're called $1 Million Body. That's what the network was called in 2006. 2007 was $1 Million Body, because we had something called the $1 Million Body Game, because we were giving away $1 million in prizes as a part of, we now call it the Beachbody Challenge. Well, I hung up the phone when I heard $1 Million Body. I had no interest. Do I want to live healthy? Absolutely. Do I want to see less of myself in the mirror than I might have seen in my mirror before? Absolutely. But do I have any interest whatsoever personally in being Chippendale dancer called? No. That's what I envisioned in my mind. So every couple of months, I get a phone call from these guys. Finally, in September of '06, they call and say, look, we're going to launch this thing in 90 days. We need some help. Will you, Milan, come on board as consultant? We need help with a training program. We need help with a recognition system. We need help with a getting started. Back then called it a coach starter kit. So we agreed to drive to LA and amongst ourselves, we are debating, so how much do you think we should charge them for our services for the next 90 days? And do you think we can get 6 months out of them instead of 90 days? That was the conversation Milana and I were driving to LA. LA, we have a daughter down there. We're going to go visit. We walk into 82 Wilshire Boulevard, 12th floor. On the door, it said product partner. We're in the wrong place. I had no idea who product partners were. We walked in, sure enough, there they were waiting for us. They ushered us into this little 12 by 12 room. 3 of the walls were glass. There was only one solid wall. The $1 million body crew walk in was one of them. And we started chatting with them. And then this hyperactive dude with his shirt tail untucked, wearing jeans and sneakers, comes bebopping into the office and introduced himself as Carl Deichler. And I thought, you've got to be kidding me. This guy's the CEO of this company. He does not at all match anything like the CEO I would imagine this company was going to have. And then Carl opened his mouth. And 15 minutes later, we went from how much are we going to charge these guys per month and can we get 6 months out of them instead of 90 days to how can we be involved in this thing in a big way. That's when they said to Milan, we're going to need somebody who understands the profession. Most of our original coaches are going to be female. We need somebody to lead that team if you're open to being a coach. Then Carl turns to me and says, I understand people trust you. We're going to make a lot of mistakes. We need somebody that's willing to take a few arrows for us, that people will believe. We would love to have you join our team as a director of sales and training, and let's go get this thing done. In a matter of 15 minutes, Carl Deichler had changed. And I went from, oh my gosh, this guy's the CEO, to holy crap, he just broke every model of what I thought a CEO was, because he challenges the status quo every day. He's a visionary beyond any vision I've ever seen, and the guy makes things happen, or he makes things happen. And we know that's who Carl is, right? If it isn't happening, he'll figure out a way to make it happen. So everything changed for us. And I got to tell you guys, the first 2 years in this program, it was an absolute nightmare. Because we didn't know who we were. We didn't have an identity. We changed the message every other week. Carl would call me on his way into the office and say, hey, here's a really cool idea, go to work on it. I'd say, great. By the end of the day, you'd have another idea. It was everywhere. And then we started to find our rhythm. And then Beachbody introduced this really interesting concept called challenge groups. Challenge groups revolutionized the business. And we have gotten to where we are because of the challenge philosophy. But we're at a point now where we've got to develop leadership within this program. Free meeting is going to end in 10 minutes. I better shut up. Okay, here we go. Sorry, Melissa. We're at a point in this Beachbody business where we need to step up the game from the training and leadership perspective. And that's where Leadership Ladder steps in. In my mind, Leadership Ladder is going to take this company from $1 billion to $2 billion plus, the same way challenge groups took us from 150 million to $1 billion. That's how important the Leadership Ladder is. Now, why is it important? The Leadership Ladder causes coaches to engage in activity that causes stability. For example, if you're engaged in leadership, you are hitting Success Club. You're adding new coaches. you're building volume, you're encouraging rank advancement, you're doing all the things that result in stability in your business. So personally, when I'm talking to my team, I talk to my team about team leader and organizational leader more than I talk to them about 5-star and above diamonds. Because if they're team leaders, they're going to make more money than most diamonds and 2-star diamonds are making, because they're driving volume into their organization. The leadership ladder causes volume to happen in your business, and volume is the only thing that pays you. Now, the recognition system is more colorful and more flowery and more diamonds. That's what's this in my hand right here. It's important because recognition and emotion and enthusiasm and all those kinds of things keep people's attention. But the truest truth is, if you want to cause income, I would encourage you to start to acknowledge the different rungs on the leadership ladder. And I would encourage you to recognize people who are getting to those rungs on the ladder. And I'm talking about those rungs on the ladder the same way you talk about diamonds and star diamonds. Because when you do that, coaches are they're going to see a stronger volume productivity in their team. They're going to see coaches who are more independent and volume productive, and when they do that, they're going to see an increase in their check. And when they see an increase in their check, they get more excited, they talk more, and they engage people more, and the business has a natural growth process. So I strongly encourage you to, if familiar with the leadership ladder, all you got to do is go to your homepage, click on the little leadership ladder tab, pops up and it says learn more about the leader from Michael Neiman. Watch that video. And then right below it, there's another little link that says Metro did an awesome presentation last year at Summit about using the leadership. Those 2 presentations are really all you need to know. But here's what I know. Your coaches will perform to the level that you expect. Your coaches will perform to the level that you talk about. And when you start talking about leadership ladder, they'll become familiar with it. When you start recognizing leadership ladder, they will start focusing on it. And when they start looking at it and focusing on it, their checks are going to go up. And the beauty of this kind of a business is, as the boats rise, so do we, right? The tide rises all boats. Well, in this case, the tide is called volume. And that's what the leadership ladder is going to cause. There will be a natural process that comes out of your coaches engaging in the leadership ladder. That's why, in fact, we're going to introduce a new recognition system around the leadership ladder here at the 1st of June for the second half of the beta test that I think is going to just drive our business crazy, because coaches are going to see weekly productivity increase that results in income, and if they result in income around. I have diamonds on my team that have quit because they weren't making any money. And once they got to diamond, they weren't getting consistent recognition around it from beyond me. And I've got coaches that have been team leaders now making $250 every other week that are just killing it. And their team leaders haven't even quite made it to diamond yet, but they got more volume bubbling up. So I encourage you to take a look at that. 3 things to say really quick. If you want leadership ladder to be a part of your culture, recognize it. Right? Teach it and provide content there. Now, the beauty about providing content is Beachbody's done it all for you. When you send your people to the leadership ladder page on their home office, right underneath each one of the titles, it says learn more. You click on it, it gives them the things they should be focusing on to get to that rung on the ladder. The same thing shows up if you go into the training area of your online office. It says new coach to emerald coach, ruby to diamond, diamond to 1 star, and it gives you the list of things to do. It's the same stuff, just organized under the leadership ladder, because that's where it really came from. They created it there first, and then they decided, how do we make it fit into the recognition system for diamonds and above? And that's where that all came from. So I could talk a lot, guys. I just believe that the leadership ladder is the next piece to the hyper growth puzzle. So if you want to take part in that hyper growth, figure out how to make the leadership ladder a part of your expectation, your recognition, and your culture. Melissa, back to you.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Thank you so much, Kevin. I have a ton of takeaways, and I hope you guys do as well. And I can't stress enough, Kevin just said it 3 different times. If you want your teams to focus on leadership ladder, you have to recognize it, you have to teach it, you have to implement it. And I know it seems confusing, but like I said at the beginning of the call, if you really take some time to just watch those 2 videos that he talked about, and then if you still have questions, reach out in the North Bay page or in Team Fierce or Diesel Nation or Team Relentless. Someone's going to be able to assist you. And I wanted to do this call tonight because I wanted you to hear that this is the direction that we're going. And if you're looking to build your income, this is the way you want to do it. Rank doesn't mean bank. And I learned that pretty early on. But getting to 2-star, that's going to be a change in your business as well. So focus on what you want. Educate yourself on it. Kevin said it. I said it. Just because you sign one coach doesn't make you a leader. What's going to make you a leader is your actions. People are going to watch what you do. They're going to listen to what you say, but you can say till you're blue in the face, I'm a leader, I'm a leader, I'm a leader. But until you're demonstrating those behaviors, you're really not a leader, guys. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but there was a couple things that I just wanted to see. Let's see. I personally love hearing the beginning of Beachbody because we all come into this business, and I think that people tend to overcomplicate it. And when it comes down to it, it's just about helping people and helping people find those results. And when you do that, and when I do that, your goals are going to come forth. And we have, in my opinion, the best CEO ever. I've worked in a lot of corporations and had a lot of different CEOs, and I get inspired from leadership talks and things like that. But there was just a recent conversation on the wall where people are going back and forth about why Shaun T's here and why he's not here. And at the end of the day, Shaun T didn't, yes, he may have been the trainer that inspired you, or Kevin may have been the coach that onboarded you and inspired you in this business, but you're the person who stuck with it and who was consistent in it. And so be your own inspiration. Kevin had talked about sharing how this business has changed your life. If you're on my news page and you're not Beachbody, I probably drive you crazy, but I'm excited about the things that we offer and how this business has changed my life, because 150,000% it has. And I can tell you, if it wasn't for Beachbody, I probably wouldn't have got those tires today, right? This business has completely changed everything, from financially to emotionally, physically, everything, the relationships we have. So encourage your teams to listen to the playback of this call. Ask questions. If you have more things, post them in the news feed, I'm sure, or in the group of the training or invite. I'm sure Kevin would not mind answering those when he's available to. But this is your opportunity to change